right, John. I need before we get started here, I just need to let you know if I throw up or pass out, please just continue on without me. Just leave me where I fall, but make sure that the podcast gets all the way to the end. Make sure the podcast gets all the way to the end.
I make no promises.
You may, damn it, son of a bitch. Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back, John. It's been what?
2 weeks?
3-4 weeks? No, it's been more than that, hasn't it?
It's been about 2 weeks.
Has it been? Okay,
Yeah.
well, never mind. The time all blurs together. It's all just one big white.
Time is a flat circle.
It's more just like a stain on the floor to me at this point. I don't know what's going
on. It's all happening all at once. It's a flat circle.
Okay.
I have the beer cans around me.
Is that what happens?
To show you how time is just a flat surface.
All right. Do it McConaughey style. You got everyone in Austin has a bad McConaughey impression.
I don't even know what my McConaughey impression would be.
Fair enough. Welcome back to the Rage Select Podcast, John, and welcome back to the Rage Select Podcast, you lucky listeners. I am Jeff.
I'm John.
And boy, there's not that much to discuss this week. There's no big bombshells. Last week we had all the SDCC stuff, and the week before is all kinds of stuff. But this week we got I don't know. It's a weird. I don't know. But before we get started, John, how have you been?
I'm all right. I mean, I got a bit of an ear infection, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you listening to something gross?
No.
Is that how that works?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how it happened. I'm on medication. It's fine. I'm perfectly okay.
Okay, good. So you're on medication. I'm hungover, and
yeah.
that has all the makings of the world's greatest podcast.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what, you got nothing, and I realized the other day that I'm on book 9, 12, 13 of this series that I'm reading.
Yeah.
And that's apparently all I'm going to be doing in my spare time. I guess I watched Orange is the New Black. If you're interested in Orange is the New Black, the new season's good. I like it.
I watched the first 4 episodes of Castle Rock, which is on Hulu. It's that Stephen King
Oh, yeah, man and I were talking about that.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
And that's good. Yeah, she said that she was irritated because y'all watched those, then it's like, but now you're up to the point where you have to wait for them to come out weekly.
Yeah, they come out every Wednesday. So we watched an episode this past Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we have to wait until next Wednesday.
Boo.
Boo. To get the next episode.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm waiting for. That's Castlevania Season 2.
Oh, shit!
And we got a new trailer for Castlevania Season 2. Can I say I haven't looked into it, so I'm sorry, but do we know, is it going to be more than fucking like 3 episodes or however? Was the first one 3 hour-long episodes?
I think it was
45-minute episodes?
It was like 3 or 4 episodes, yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about how many episodes it is.
Yeah.
But I do know that over time, Netflix has actually been opting for shorter seasons.
Uh-huh.
And the main reason for that, it was 4 episodes.
It's 4 episodes. And then were they an hour?
I think they were only like 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. But
oh yeah, they were like less than 20 minutes. So
yeah, but they've been opting for shorter seasons, which the idea behind that is that there's quicker turnaround time for them to work on the next short season.
Right.
That's why shows that started off having, like, for example, what was it? Voltron had like the first season was like 22 episodes, and then the second season was like 13 episodes. And then every season after that's been about 5 or 6 episodes.
And yet they still put too many in those Marvel series.
That's actually the head of Netflix actually came out and talked about that.
Really?
It's in the contract that Marvel demanded that there be 13 episodes, so they can't deviate it until they sign a new contract.
Oh, Jesus Lord.
They can't change it until they get to the end of the contract.
Marvel, fuck's sake, man. We do not need 13 episodes in these shows.
No. Like the head of Netflix was like, yeah, no, the only time we don't do, it's like we're actually trying to move away from 13 episodes or and just have however many episodes the season takes to tell that part of the story.
Right.
And the only time we're not doing that is with shows where we're under contract and those seasons have to have 13 episodes. Case in point, all of our Marvel television shows are required by contract to have 13 episodes per season. Okay. With the exception of Defenders.
Well, 4 episodes or not, I really hope there's more than 4 episodes. If you would have told me that the only Castlevania property in the year 2018 would be a show on Netflix, written by Warren Ellis and produced by the guy that you don't like,
Adi Shankar.
I would have told you you're a crazy person because that's like, what?
And that it would be good.
That
Well, I mean, Warren Ellis, of course it's going to be good.
Right.
But everything else, it could have gone the other direction.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I think the last animated thing that I saw that Warren Ellis did was that G.I. Joe movie.
G.I. Joe Resolute, which was also really good.
Really good. This looks really good as well. There's a lot of... This trailer is very dramatic, and I feel the most interesting thing about it is that not a single relevant or shocking thing. It's just like, Dracula must be defeated. Dracula's a monster. He's mad with power, and it's like, yeah, we fucking know all that. Like,
that's all you need to know.
I know all that. What about at the very end having the tease of a guy with a headband start to turn around, and it's like, get Grant in there. It's still, we've got everybody from Castlevania 3 except for Grant, which I was actually reading a thing online which apparently I had forgotten. Apparently in the game, it's like you have to get into Dracula's castle and defeat Grant is possessed by an evil demon, and you have to defeat him before he joins your team. So I'm hoping at the end of the season we can get Grant in there because I like.
Maybe they'll get Broom Grant.
Grant Broom?
Yeah,
Grant Broom in there. Yeah, I don't know. You watched the first. I mean,
yeah.
It's weird because I almost feel like there's not a lot to say about Castlevania. Like, Warren Ellis is obviously pushing the story out from just the basics of what you see there. But,
it was good.
Dracula's wife got murdered. He's going to kill all the humans. His son don't want to do that. So he's joined up with the surly... I guess the biggest change here is the fact that Trevor Belmont is just like a surly alcoholic rather than just being like, I am a Belmont of the Belmont clan. He's just like, he's just like...
Well, there was always, in a lot of the surrounding material that this Belmont, Trevor Belmont, was not the adventurer that he was. Kind of like his family was. He was kind of like the outcast, or he was the one, like his family was on hard times. Like the Belmont name didn't mean shit anymore, and him in Belmont 3 is the thing that brought the Belmont names back to the forefront, and then everyone after him was like, I am a Belmont, I am going to do these great things, adventure, kill Dracula.
But then isn't I have a hard time with the timeline.
Yeah, I forget a lot of the timeline as well.
The one that Kojima produced that had Patrick Stewart in it, that's pre all of them.
Well, that's technically how Dracula became Dracula.
Right. And then the sequel to that takes place in the modern day?
Parts of it.
Okay. I don't know. I have definitely fallen off of Castlevania.
The sequel was garbage to that.
It's funny because I hear that all the time, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody say why the sequel was garbage because I never played it. Like I played 2 parts of it for the dojo. I bought it at some point. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but I never really sat down to go oh wow, this is terrible. It was just I don't know. It seems like the same kind of Devil May Cry ripoff shit that Konami's been doing. Anyway, though, I think that this looks...
Yeah, it looks great.
It looks really good. I wish they put just a little bit more detail into the animation. Just a little bit more. Not a huge amount, but just a little bit more. There's a lot of just flat surfaces of color going on in here that could maybe just use a little bit more texture. But
I don't have that complaint.
Yeah. On top of that, we also got... So we talk about the Venom trailer, but I don't know, it just looks like a Venom trailer.
I love the Venom trailer because of how terrible it is.
Yeah,
it has literally one of the worst lines of dialogue ever uttered by a character in the history of anything. And it feels so 90s. It's amazing.
Which one is that? Is there going to talk about?
I'm going to eat your arms. I'm going to eat your legs, and then I'm going to eat your face off of your skull.
Right.
And then you'll be rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
Yes.
It's just that is such a great line.
It's really strange.
It sounds like something that was written for a comic book in the 90s.
Yeah.
Something that Todd McFarlane probably came up with.
See, I think it's weird because I don't have any nostalgia for Venom by Venom's self. I've only ever known Venom as a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to the point in the comics where he turned into I think Maximum Carnage, right? Where they tentative alliance, right?
Anti-hero, yeah.
Right. But still not not really.
And then they entered into an agreement that Venom doesn't bother him and he won't bother Venom.
Yeah. But more important than that, we got trailer 2 for the Slenderman. Oh my God, John. This is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. Or not, okay, it's not the worst.
I feel like you want to talk about this in the same way that I want to talk about the Venom trailer.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Okay, so here's my thing. Here's my thing. Slenderman, the Slenderman as a concept, to me, maybe not to everybody, but to me, worked the less you knew about Slenderman, right? Like when it was just like this, what is this? Is in these old photos, and then it's like, and then just people disappear, and he doesn't, like, you just see him like blip blapping around, which I, pretty sure that was from the game. I don't know, maybe Marble Hornets. I never watched Marble Hornets, but like early on when Slenderman came up, I felt like Slenderman was kind of scary because it was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't know what this is. It's just this weird looking dude in a tall suit with the tentacles.
Well, you know that those two things weren't the originators of Slenderman, right? It was originally like a creepypasta, like the internet.
Yeah.
And they took it and added on, both of those added on to it.
Yes. No, because I remember the original. This just looks like they've taken this interesting. So, like, not to put it all on this movie, because then as time went on and Slenderman became more and more and more, like, one, fleshed out, even though there wasn't really an official way to do that, and then two, you started getting like videos online of people pranking other people by dressing up like Slenderman and stuff.
Yeah.
The day that that Slenderman died in my head as a thing that was even remotely scary was when I saw a picture of a slender woman doing a pole dance, like an illustration on the internet when I was searching for a picture of Slenderman, and I was like, okay, this isn't scary anymore. This has become like sexy booby time. But like, this to me looks like just every horror movie.
It looks like someone tried to turn the Slenderman into the Ring.
Yeah. Okay, yep, pretty much exactly. And like, it's just the more you show of it, the less scary it is. And then by putting it in this context of like, the rules to summon the Slenderman and like blah, and then and I mean, because the whole thing with the Slenderman was just like he shows up and then you disappear and then you're fucking gone, right? Like, and nobody knows what happens, or at least that was, I guess, part of the kind of original intent, more so. But here it's like, I don't know. This trailer's 2 minutes long, and the last minute is just this one girl being terrorized by the Slenderman.
I think my problem with it, and this is my thing, is the thing that made the Slenderman, the idea of the Slenderman, both in the games, in the Marble Hornet videos, in like those photos and things like that, is that when the Slenderman is there, you don't know that he's there unless you really like. The best stuff was always the stuff where he's in the photo but you don't realize he's in the photo,
right?
Or he's in the area and you don't realize he's there, and it takes you a minute, a full, like a little while for your eyes to catch it,
right? And
then it's like, oh man, that's creepy, kind of thing. Like in those Marble Hornet videos, that was always the thing, is that if you actually watch them, Slenderman's in every one of those videos. And just, you don't know that he's in every one of those videos, because they hide it. Like that's always when it's effective. And this, they just kind of, he's always there, and it's always very clear that he's there. And I get they have to do that for a movie, to make it mass appeal, but it just looks generic and horror movie bullshit.
Right. It looks like what was that, like the Wishbox movie, or like Rings, or it just looks like any modern, like low budget teen horror movie, which kind of sucks because I almost feel like
I also felt like this movie is like maybe like 4 or 5 years too late.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes. I feel like if you had gotten somebody, okay, sorry, I'm all over the place. The tragedy of this, to me, John, is that there is a lot of interesting avant-garde horror going on right now that this could have been very interestingly adapted to. Like, have you ever watched the movie? It's kind of a horror movie, but it's more of like a psychological art film called They Look Like People.
No.
Okay. It's about a guy who goes to his friend's house, and it kind of becomes clear over time that like he thinks that the world has been invaded by these imposters that look like people, and it's never really entirely sure whether or not that's his mental illness or whether it's like actually a thing that is happening. It Follows, right? Or as much as I'm not a big fan of It Follows, but there's been a lot of interesting kind of artsy horror going on recently, and this, it feels like, would have been better suited for somebody to take and do an experimental film, like almost like maybe you make a Slenderman movie where Slenderman never shows up, and it's just the concept of Slenderman that people are just like fucking freaking out over, and like people aren't sure, and people are disappearing.
If I'm not mistaken, there's another movie in development that's less of a movie and more of a remake of True Events about those girls,
the girls that
killed that one girl and then claimed that Slender Man made them do it.
Right. That would be a better Slenderman movie.
Like I think there's actually like a movie, like a movie about that's being made. I could be wrong. It could be a documentary. I don't remember. It may have already come out. I don't.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is just such a waste opportunity because I mean, you look at this and it's like, I can see what's going to happen here. Yeah. I can already see what's going to happen. They're looking for their one friend who's missing. I bet both of those friends get killed before the movie's over. They're there to get offed, and that, there's all this weird imagery of like smoky tentacles like coming out of her mouth, coming out of her stomach and stuff. And it's kind of like, this isn't really what made Slenderman very scary. I don't know. I guess it's just like I feel like somebody saw Slenderman and they were like, "Ooh, that looks like a monster. So let's just make a monster movie about Slenderman." When
now. Here's the thing. This movie looks terrible. The first trailer looked terrible. Everything about it looks generic and not interested in any way, shape, or form. Now, what I would actually hope for, I'm not going to go see this in theaters unless there's like suddenly good word of mouth. But what I'm hoping for is that it's just bad trailers. Whoever makes these trailers is just fucking terrible.
That they just made this bog standard like horror movie trailer.
Yeah, and then it actually turns out that the movie is actually like really good and scary and does some like original things, and then a lot of the weird imagery is like not actually in the movie. Yeah. That you're seeing in the trailer, this trailer or whatever. But I mean, it'd be kind of cool. Like I hope
if it's a fake out.
Yeah, like I'm hoping that that the movie is good. But I have no hope for it, and I don't have any intentions of seeing it unless someone actually, a bunch of people can see it, like, no, it's fucking good, dude. Like, it was surprisingly good. I wouldn't going in to laugh at it. It was actually really riveting. Like a bunch of people. Okay. Not just like one person that I know, because that person I can't trust his opinion. But yeah. So I mean, I hope for that. Yeah. I expect it to not happen. I expect people to watch it and be like, oh, no, this is garbage.
I like the way that you reframed that, because when you started that sentence, you were like, now, I hope this movie is good, but I have no hope that this movie is going to be any good.
Yeah. Well, let me phrase it. I want the movie to be good.
Sure.
But I have no hope for it.
We all want movie. I don't want any movie to be bad. I would like every movie to be good. I guess that would be a little exhausting, though, right? If every movie was fantastic, and then you had to be like, oh, shit. I got like 8 fantastic movies that I need to catch up on tonight because I'm a human, and I can only watch like Avengers Infinity War so many times now that it's out on VOD. That movie holds up. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, let us jump over into the gaming news. As I said, it's a very strange bit of news this week, and we are going to start the week. Normally, we don't start the week. Normally, if we're going to talk about Valve, we're going to talk about Valve later on down the line. But this week, because it's a very slow news week, Valve is front and center.
Hey, Valve. How's it going?
Hey, Valve. So, let's see here.
Gabe Newell, I hope you're listening.
We are talking about the game Abstractism.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what this is about.
Yep. So this is a garbage platformer that came out on Steam, and apparently it had this thing.
Wasn't it like free to play, or it was like really super cheap, or something like that?
Yeah, one of the two. But apparently there was a thing inside of the game where it was like the longer you ran the game, the faster you got card drops out of it, which you can sell card drops on the Steam store for money or whatnot. And so it was encouraging people to like just leave the game open and running all the time. And then people started looking at like what
people's computers started running like shit.
What is all this other shit that is running whenever I open this game? And it turns out that Abstractism was mining cryptocurrency on your computer while you had the game open, which part of me says that's fucking brilliant. Like, obviously you knew you were going to get caught, but like, this feeds into, so, this isn't much of a story if you just say, hey, don't go down this game. But what I want to do is use this as a bit of a crowbar into talking about Steam.
Yeah.
Fucking get your shit. Get it together. Your shit. Put it in.
They opened the floodgates, and this is what we got.
Like, what?
They literally said, we're not going to filter anything. Everything goes up unless it's, unless it's just fucking terrible or illegal. And then this shit happens.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't understand how in the world.
I mean, mind you, the game did get pulled.
Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. I'm sorry. I forgot to get to that part of the story. Eventually, Steam did pull the game from the service. Yes. But it's so strange to me how we can live in a world where, as consumers, I guess, like, I know people like me, right? I bought a game on Steam today, right? I got a show to run.
My God.
Games. I bought games on Steam today. But it's like, how the fuck does a company as goddamn rich as Valve just be like, yeah, whatever. Fucking whatever. Fucking whatever. You put whatever you want to. I mean, I saw a game last week that was just like a match 3, or it was like a version of the game Threes.
Yeah.
Except that it was slightly different rules than Threes.
Of course, they didn't want to get,
And it was just Threes on one side, and on the other side was an anime girl whose clothes came off the higher you scored in the game of and I was like, fucking. And the thing is that game was like, I think it was on like the popular new games, because there's things that'll blip into that category, because whenever a game that has porno in it comes out, everybody on Steam is like, thumbs up, right? If it doesn't do 60 frames per second, John, thumbs down, fuck you, waste of money.
But if you show me a pair of tits.
But if there's some anime titties in there, fucking thumbs up, would fap again, 10 out of 10. That's why I hate the Steam system so bad. And not just that. I'm sorry. I did not expect this to go this way. But last week, fucking, I opened up Steam, and suddenly I'm getting messages from people, and Steam's like, hey, everybody, check out our new chat client. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you have time to work on a chat client when I can't find games? Like, the only way that I can find games on your service is literally through like going through other recommendation websites, or like looking at what Rock Paper Shotgun is gone out there and done the work to play, right? But you got time to make sure that we can chat with each other. You can be like, hey bro, how's it going? Oh, I want to play some Counter-Strike. You want to trade Counter-Strike skins? God. But the problem is that it's such a weird situation, because I've never seen a company with this much power give less of a shit, and I've never seen consumers. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to go to GOG?
No.
Like, I'd love to, but there's not as the games aren't
it's
all
like
there.
That, it's like that Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode with Kodos and Krang, or whatever the fuck his name is, the two aliens that take over the parties, and it's like, we'll vote for a third party, and they're like, who are you gonna vote for? It's a 2-party system. He's like, oh god, he's right. And then Ross Perot's like, shit. Instead of Ross Perot, it's GOG.
Right.
Just going, shit.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's incredibly frustrating to me that I mean, like, what was it, like 6 months ago, where Steam was like, we're phasing out Greenlight, we're gonna get our shit together, and it's like, then
they just said, you know what, it's too much hard work to get our shit together.
Right.
Fuck it.
Right. It's like that time where I was like, I'm gonna quit smoking and start going to the gym, and 3 days later I'm like, fuck it, you give me that beer and those cigarettes, I'm gonna lay on this couch and eat chips for 12 hours.
That was yesterday, wasn't it?
No, yesterday I made avocado toast, which by the way, I don't know what the thing one jackass said one time that was just like, oh, these millennials are spending all their money on avocado toast instead of saving it. Avocados are 58 cents a piece. Toast is nothing.
Yeah.
Avocado toast should cost roughly $1. Anyway. So yeah, watch out for Abstract abstractism. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to. I'm gonna reinstall GOG Galaxy and take a look, because you know what? Like, the question is, this week there was like 6 games. There was like Revolution 1979, Chasm, La Mulana 2, a few things. And if they have all of those on GOG Galaxy, I can maybe just use Steam as a garbage dumping ground when I need to play, like, you know, the latest Boob Ninja game that came out. I wonder, did Yakuza 0 came out today on Steam? Did you know if it came out on?
Oh, I have no idea.
GOG Galaxy as well. Let's just do a quick go to GOG.com and see.
I don't know what's on GOG. I don't go to that website ever.
Yeah, they do have. This is the Police 2, which we unfortunately played, but
not that good, huh?
I
never played the first one, so I don't know.
No, they don't have it. Matt and I played it, and it basically, the review of it was like, I don't know, it might be a good game, but we played it for 40 minutes, and it just was like, yap, kind of mediocre story, yap, mediocre story, yap, mediocre story, and it was like, I don't have time to wait for you to get your story in order. This is the place. Anyway, let's keep it up with Valve. It does not look like Yakuza 0 is on GOG. Jay Pinkerton has come back to Valve.
Hey,
who was one of the he was a former Cracked editor who went over there and was one of the writers on Portal 2 and also one of the writers on Left 4 Dead, and then left, and now he's back. So Portal 3 confirmed. Left 4 Dead 2 confirmed.
Wouldn't it be Left 4 Dead 3?
Was there already Left 4 Dead 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. But again, as we just got done saying, this may bode well for new projects coming from Valve. I'm not going to hold my breath, though, because the last time
It's probably a card game.
Valve put out a game was... But do they need this kind of writer for a card game? Is it going to be like a really cheeky card game with a lot of humor in it?
It's going to be Portal, the card game.
Oh, goddamn. I guess we'll find out a little bit, because Valve's Artifact card game is going to be playable at PAX West, and it's coming out in November.
Oh,
so
wow.
If we can just get past... It's going to be a Battle Royale game after that, isn't it?
Probably.
It's a Battle fucking Royale game.
Yeah.
Or like a hero shooter, maybe?
Portal Battle Royale. Portal Royale? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god!
And just everyone has portal guns. That's it, and that's it. There are no actual guns.
There's no actual
It's
guns.
all just there's no
goop. Fall damage.
It's the goop.
Yeah.
And the portal guns. That's the only weapons.
Yep. You got to try to set up a trap so that they slip into the electric water or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Valve, what the fuck are you doing? I wish they would stop. I wish they would just be like, I wish Gabe Newell would come out and just be like, we no longer make video games. We already make a shit ton of money. We're just a platform for doing this. Also, we don't care. Put your porno cryptocurrency miner on our service. Who gives a fuck? At least then I would believe them. So I'm sure that this card game is eventually going to have some level of microtransaction. And do you want to know what else has microtransactions?
What?
Thank you. Gran Turismo Sport. The free-to-play Gran Turismo was on the play, or I don't know if it's free to play, but it's on the PlayStation 4. And this is interesting because they just got a big update that had a bunch of that had, I think, like 1 track and 8 cars, and added the ability to spend real-world money on cars in the game, which is interesting because the producer, I believe it was, actually said in an interview, the CEO of Palafani Digital, Kazunori Yamauchi, said, specifically when asked, will this game have microtransactions? No, it will not. And then I think that during that interview, then the interviewer was like, oh, thank God. And everybody in the audience laughed, including this guy. They're like, ha, 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 ha. And now this does have microtransactions.
Totally has microtransactions. Yeah.
Which I think is a good lesson. This week is going to be a lot of reinforced lessons, John. A lot of things that we already know, the people in this industry already know, but we need to say it a second time. When somebody says there will not be DLC or microtransactions for our game,
they're lying.
They might not necessarily be lying, but please don't believe that they're telling the truth. Like, they may be telling the truth, But if you just kind of assume that they're not telling the truth, then you can be very pleasantly surprised when they are telling the truth, and it's all great. It's all grand, and everything is wonderful. And if they're not telling the truth, then you can be like, well, there you go. Video game person
lied again.
Front page news, video game person lies about video game. Oh no, it's only been, let's see, all of video games that they've lied to us about things. Like, I don't know. I'm always really I only bring this up because I feel like ever since E3 I've been seeing a lot of Cyberpunk 2077 news, and I'm just like, that game is far away, y'all. I don't know that I would believe it. But
yeah.
I'll tell you who you definitely shouldn't believe.
Is it me?
No, it is
So you
Activision.
should believe me at all times.
Don't believe John, folks. Is Activision because apparently that Spyro, whatever. I fucking. That one asshat is in the comment section. Just like, can't fucking pronounce.
It's Spyro.
Spyro, like pyro. Spyro, the Spyro Reignited trilogy, apparently is only going to have the first game on the disc, and you're going to have to download the second two.
Kind of figured.
Which, really, I mean, I don't know if the games exist. Why not put all three of them on the same disc? I guess
maybe they couldn't fit all three of them on the same disc.
Maybe.
And they didn't want to release multiple discs.
Maybe.
Wanted to pull a Microsoft with the Halo Master Chief Collection.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Again, this is we're going back to the theme of reinforcing shit that we've already talked about before, but it does bring up the interesting question of like, so in 20 years when Activision's servers get shut down, does that mean that if I put this in my PlayStation 4, I'm only going to be able to play the first game because the PlayStation Network no longer exists after the wars of 2025,
probably
when the internet was destroyed, and we finally all went back to just using landline telephones and no cell phones.
Probably.
Man, that sounds great. Sounds really good. I guess I wouldn't be able to have a career or like a podcast or anything. I'd have to go back to like making sandwiches or like doing art or something like that. But anyway, fans are not entirely happy.
Oh, of course not.
Because, I feel like a lot of the people that you got to think that a lot of the people that want a game like this want it for, they want it for
no. By
posterity.
the way, when I point out that it's on, that Halo Master Chief Collection did the same thing, I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Not surprising.
Yeah.
They also put out shocked by it.
A statement, which is nothing. It's just nothing. It's just the global launch of Spyro Reignited Trilogy is September 21st. We're excited for fans to play all three Ignited games in that day. As with most games today, downloading an update after purchase is quite common. The language on packaging and on the web is to let players know the requirements for the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Spyro, whatever. Fucking goddamn. Just eat a dick, you. The one person who talked about this shit. Fuck off. So, yeah. Speaking of people being upset at video games, apparently, I don't know if this is a new thing that happened, but they changed the way that Mary Jane looks in the Spider-Man video game that's coming up.
Okay.
The earlier trailers, she looked a little bit different than she does now, and I guess that some people are, it's the internet, right?
Yeah.
So, like, oh no, she's been uglified because of SJWs or something.
I don't know.
I really don't.
Here's the thing. I don't give a shit as long as the game's good.
Yeah, me neither.
So, let them make their changes.
I don't think she looks different than she did before. It doesn't. Nope, doesn't mean much to me. Tell you what does mean something to me, though. Actually, I should have put these in a different order because this is a good one about liars in the video game industry. So anyway, BioWare is having a panel.
BioWare and lying. Oh my God.
Not just that, but everyone's favorite BioWare executive, Casey Hudson, is apparently having a panel at PAX where they're talking about Anthem, trying to kind of like, suss out, I don't know, alleviate concerns from gamers who are just like, Sorry, I'm cranky today.
All the concerns that I, poked holes through when we talked about their E3 press conference, and that you and me were just like, well, this doesn't make sense, and you said this, and this doesn't make sense.
Yep. Yeah. So all that, but that's not what I'm concentrating on, because Anthem is Anthem and whatever. I feel like that game is mostly done. Like, they're not going to push it back, right? They're going to put out what they've got regardless of how people complain about it.
Just like with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yes. Which we thought was the last Mass Effect. Now, I don't know. I'm just going to read the quote here. Everybody keep in mind, Casey Hudson quote. And yes, we hear loud and clear the interest in Bioware doing more Dragon Age and Mass Effect, so rest assured that we have some teams hidden away working on some secret stuff that I think you'll like. We're just not ready to talk about any of it for a little while. So, if I had to take a guess, I'd say this is a new Dragon Age game, right?
I think if I remember correctly, there is a very small, tiny team that is working on Dragon Age that someone had mentioned the last time I was reading stuff about it, that there was rumored to be a small team, like of maybe 20 people, working on whatever could potentially be the new Dragon Age game, but they're so early in development that it might as well not even be called Dragon Age.
Okay.
And that everyone else in the company is working on Anthem.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's interesting because he specifically mentions Mass Effect by name. The idea that they might try for more Mass Effect is, I really wish that I could just get them to go back and do for Mass Effect Andromeda what Hello Games did for No Man's Sky, right? Like, fucking EA, that's EA, right? EA has all the money. Like, let some small team. I'm not talking about one of these Dead Space, Mass Effect, or Dead Space, or Assassin's Creed teams. Like a little team off to one side to just plug away at Mass Effect Andromeda, and then see if you can get that thing to a place where it's something that everybody can be proud of, instead of just this thing that nobody likes. But well, then let's place down our bets. What do you how long until we hear about a new Dragon Age? You think we'll see that next year's E3?
No, it'll be 2 years away.
2 years?
2 years at the earliest, and even then, it won't even be a new Dragon Age coming out next year, coming out within the next year. I think we're at least 4 years away from another Dragon Age game. I think their focus is going to be 100% on Anthem for at least the next 4 years, with maybe a small team of developers working on something else. And they'll slowly move people over to work on Dragon Age during that time.
Yeah.
But I feel like their primary focus is going to be on Anthem, and if we hear anything about another Dragon Age game, it won't be 2 years away.
Okay. I agree. I feel like next year it'll be DLC for Anthem, right?
Yeah. No.
Wait. Is this one of those ones where they said that Anthem wasn't going to have any DLC, or maybe not paid DLC, but some kind of expansion or update or thing?
Yeah. Some big storyline update.
And then the year after that, garbage teaser that doesn't show anything. And then the year after that, probably an actual trailer with a release date a year or two away from that. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, that all checks. That checks out. So, yeah, Dragon Age fans, buckle up. It's going to be half of a decade. So, speaking of EA, another just quick announcement. The on the house stuff that they had in Origins is
gone,
phasing out. This is not necessarily a big shocker, considering they're getting ready to roll out that Game Pass, their version of the Game Pass that they announced at E3.
Yeah.
So giving away games for free when you could be giving them away as part of this Game Pass makes a certain amount of sense. I don't know. I always forgot to do it. Right? I think
I remembered for a solid 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I stopped playing games on my PC.
For those of you who don't know, Origin on the PC would basically just put old EA games up for free, and you could just say,
yeah, and sometimes they weren't.
This.
Yeah, and sometimes they were good games. I think Battlefield 3 was one of the first ones they did. I think Dead Space 1 and 2 were both at some point.
Mass Effect 2 was up at one
Mass
point.
Effect 2 on one point.
Dragon Age 1 was as well.
Peggle, I think, was another one. And then they put out some fucking Interplay games.
Yeah.
like old school, like interplay games in there, like Wing Commander or something like that. I can't remember the exact.
I know that Crusader was one of them.
Crusader, that was the one. But yeah, I was like, that was interplay. What the fuck?
And what was the other one? Syndicate, the remake.
Yeah.
The Syndicate remake, I believe, was free. I remember because I installed it and played a little bit of it. I like that Syndicate remake. I don't know. I think that game gets a little bit of a rough time, and I also think that people remember Syndicate with rose-colored glasses.
Well, yeah, of course.
Anywho, so yeah, if you were waiting to get some free games from EA, you now have to pay for them. From there, let's go over to Overwatch. We're going to spend half the show talking about Overwatch like we did last week, but this weekend was the Overwatch Finals.
Yeah.
And the London Spitfire has won the first Overwatch League Grand Finals, or League Championship, or whatever it's
Congrats
called.
to them.
Yep. It's funny because I watched the first, it was a best of 3, and it was bouts of 5, and I watched the first set on Friday night. And then on Saturday, the second set was getting ready to start, and I went and picked you up, and then by the time we got back, it's like they'd won.
Yeah.
It was they just stomped the, was it?
You know what disappointed me?
Philly Fusion?
Or disappoints me?
Tell me.
So the season has ended.
Yes.
They're doing an all-star game in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I will not. It'll be over by the time I get to California.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then there's no more Overwatch tournament stuff. Like, I was legitimately like, I want to try to see if I can go. I want to see if I can get tickets to that. And I'm like, it's the weekend before I get there. Damn it.
Yeah. All I know is that again, I'm not going to keep harping on about this, but like, there's 2 new.
So I really wanted to go.
2 new teams are being added to the league.
Yeah.
Atlanta, and then a foreign. I don't know. Also, I read an article that said it costs like $60 million now to get like entrants to be a team in the Overwatch League. I don't know. I really like watching Overwatch.
Yeah, I wanted to go and sit down live in the crowd, be there for
get those
for
2
a game.
big plastic things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go maybe cheer on the Houston Outlaws or the. No, I'm not going to cheer on the Dallas Fuel. They can go fuck themselves.
I'm H-Town as well, so yeah.
They have a cool logo. That's the thing I got to say. The Houston Outlaws actually have a fucking badass logo.
Yeah.
So I'm being from Houston, I'm totally down for that.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Fuel, lazy name, lazy logo. They can go fuck themselves.
That's all it takes in Texas, y'all, is we get more than one sporting team around here. We're just like, that one's cooler. I like that one. Plus, I fucking hate Dallas.
Yeah, same here.
I fucking hate Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas, go to hell, Dallas.
No, I agree.
So, yeah. Anyway, if you've never watched Overwatch League, even if you've never played Overwatch, again, I feel like it's easy to watch. They have little explainers and everything before each match to explain how the matches go.
And I think the announcers are actually pretty good, too.
They are indeed.
And like I said, if you haven't watched, you still got a chance to watch the All-Star game, which is coming up in a couple of weeks.
You can watch all the replays.
And you watch all the replays. But, I recommend it. If you got nothing better to do, give it a watch. It's actually a lot of fun.
I mean, like, if you've never watched it, again, I think it's incredibly accessible because Overwatch is easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Dota. You don't like when they start talking about Dota, like the number of configurations that can exist in Dota is so much that like you have to play Dota to understand what's going on. Like I've tried watching the international a few times, and I'm usually like I can kind of understand why people are excited, but I don't know like what like when people land an individual ability and then they're just like and I'm like I don't really know what that means. On the other hand, I understand completely what happens when fucking Hanzo shoots the big dragons, right?
Yeah.
That's real easy to look at and go, oh, he shot the big dragons, and they go through. Same with Evo got announced, and it's like, I feel like unless you play Injustice 2, watching like an Injustice 2 match at Evo, you'd be like, this the guys Aquaman and Superman are beating each other up.
I think fighting game, one-on-one fighting games are actually on the same level as Overwatch because I mean, even if you don't know specifically what those powers or moves do or how complicated it is to do certain moves, the idea of 2 people facing off against each other and what you're seeing on the screen is easily accessible. Especially like when games like Street Fighter and even Injustice, when you're kind of watching what's going on and you're seeing a fight and you know what the health bar looks like and you know what.
I agree that I think that fighting games rank above MOBAs, but I still think that Overwatch has that it's easier to understand than because fighting games all have different rules, different like ways to execute specials and stuff like that. I feel like Overwatch is very simple, I feel like, to look at. I don't know. That's just me. I feel like a normal person would have an easier time watching Overwatch. Plus, it's a whole team of people doing stuff. But
yeah, I mean, but the difference is that you have a whole team of doing stuff, and you have to know, like, oh, who's on what team and what's doing, or who's doing what.
Sure.
Whereas with a one-on-one fighting game, it's like watching a boxing match.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I guess the example that I always think of in my head is if I showed somebody who hadn't played a fighting game the infamous Daigo clip from Evo that one year of him doing the techs on on Chun-Li. Like, a normal person wouldn't understand why everybody was on their feet screaming, right? Because you'd have to explain to them what this guy is doing and why it's so impressive as opposed to normal stuff. Anyway, let's see. From here, we got trailers. Let's jump into trailers. We got some good trailers this week. I didn't see this one coming, John.
Not many people did. Though we should have, because we knew one of the things was teased in an earlier Labo video.
Yep. Nintendo Labo Toy-Con Set 3 is coming out. And this actually looks a little bit more gamey, than the previous one. It looks like an interesting split between the two of them because the robot was like the most game-looking one that we saw. And
it still played like a tech demo, though.
Yeah. This one looks like it might be, I don't know, kind of fun, but also, I'm not sure. There appears to be something going on here. In any case, this is a little game where you have a car, and so you can build a steering wheel, you can build a joystick, you can build this kind of like these little wheels that you use, and this little car can go. It can
There's
drive.
also a foot pedal for the gas.
Yeah, you can drive it on.
We've seen that in a previous video, the foot pedal, because someone used it in one of their music things.
Oh, I think there was a foot pedal for the. Oh no, the handlebars had a twist throttle.
Yeah.
But this looks pretty nifty. It looks like it's got a lot going on in it. It's got some kind of like racing and doing.
It also looks like there's some 2-player co-op stuff with it.
Mm-hmm. Like one person can shoot and the other person can drive. Yeah, I mean it all looks very good, and it's worth noting that Nintendo tends to make quality stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've always said that, like, even if I'm not a fan of, like, say, Yoshi, right? I would never think that Super Mario World 2 was a bad game. It's just I'm not interested in Yoshi. Or Mario Tennis Aces is a perfectly fun game if you're interested in playing a tennis game. But if
here's
you're not,
the thing. I have the robot kit.
Do you really?
Yeah. A friend bought it for me for my birthday.
Oh, okay. Did you put it together and play it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That thing is pure magic. I don't know how it works. I put it together and I don't know how it works, Jeff.
Okay.
It's just magic in a box.
Okay.
So,
Did you that was like $80, right?
No, it's the same amount as the other set.
Really? I thought one of them was more expensive.
Oh, maybe it was a little bit more expensive. I don't know.
Well, this was going to be $70. And I mean, this one is another one that's like kind of fully focused on, you got toy car, pedal, plane, key, submarine. Yeah, looks cool. I don't know. I've actually gotten to the point where this is not a good metric, John, and I'm going to be real with the people who watch Rage Select. The Labo videos that I did with Brian and his kids did not do all that well, and they were a shitload of work. Like, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work just to put the shit together, right?
Yeah.
And then we did that, and there was a bunch of like kind of cutting together an episode or whatever. So I have the house and the piano, and I never made them. But I'm inclined to kind of just be like, I'm just going to fuck around with these in my spare time. And if ever there's some reason to go back to this, maybe we'll try to set up a format that's more appropriate, that's easier to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I even like the fact that in the robot set, I haven't actually gone through it, but apparently there are. Well, I fully built the robot thing, and there were still sheets of stuff.
Yeah.
That had perforations in them already, and I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't actually looked at them, but it's just like, there's sheets of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's other things other than just the robot in the robot kit.
Well, hell, I mean, I never got past what we did. I mean, we did the motorcycle, or we did the handlebars, and then the fishing. And I guess the RC, the quote RC car, right? And that was basically as far as I got. But I mean, there's a whole like programming part.
Yeah,
you can make your own stuff.
There's actually really cool. The robot thing even has a thing where you can turn the robot movements into a drum kit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So you can like play the drums by moving your arms and legs and tilting your head. And
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So cool, good job, Nintendo. So far, for a while now, how long has it been? What Nintendo? Okay. The last time that I feel like Nintendo lied to us was when they talked about how the Wii U was going to work when they first announced it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just going to hold the thing up and then like, look, I'm looking at the screen through this second screen and I'll just take the second screen outside and keep playing the game. And it's like, its range is like 1.5 feet. And that Zombie U did that. And like 2 other games did that thing where you're like looking through the thing. But Nintendo's been pretty good recently. I mean, like the Switch, when they first announced the Switch, and I was like, there's no way it's that fast that it's just bam, it's on your TV. No, it's that fast. And anywho, from family lighthearted Nintendo, we go over to Call of Duty Black Ops 4. The multiplayer beta is upon us. You're probably going to see a video for this on Rage Select tomorrow. But for right now, we just got ourselves the yearly Call of Duty multiplayer trailer that makes Call of Duty look like a way more fun game than it is when you play it online. Because it's not just like, blap, you're dead, blap, you're dead, blap, you're dead.
No, every time the screen blinks, it's a dead person. Somebody died.
Somebody getting killed.
Yeah.
What do you think, John? What do you think when we see this?
Looks like a Call of Duty game.
It's interesting how Call of Duty has become like, how this is very much like this kind of weird near future thing these days. Everybody has so much shit on them.
Yeah.
Everybody has so much shit on their costumes. And I think it's interesting because, we've had reports, and I don't know if it's been fully confirmed, that Black Ops 4 is a hero shooter, like Overwatch.
Yeah.
But like and I've mentioned this before, but one of the things about Overwatch is that I can tell a Reinhardt from a Roadhog at a distance, at a glance. I can barely. I just paused this video. I can barely tell the people in this video apart from each other, and I'm looking right at them, and they aren't even moving. So, if it is a hero shooter, I wonder how that's going to factor in. I guess I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
As of this recording, and we'll be able to talk about it next week. In addition to that, right at the end of this, I said like, oh, I wonder if they're going to have a beta for their Battle Royale. And yes, they are. It's going to be coming in October. We got a little bit of footage for it. It looks very, it reminds me an awful lot of like PUBG.
Yeah. It looks like a more,
like a
not janky PUBG.
Like PUBG if it was made by like a developer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'll tell you what I'm really interested in is between the Battle Royale and between the multiplayer mode, are you going to be as fragile as you are in most of the other Call of Duty games? Because I feel like in Call of Duty, you get hit like 3 times, you're dead. Even if it's, I don't know, dead center shot. Or maybe it's just the people are really good at playing it and they're all getting headshots. But like on a Battle Royale map, is everybody going to be as fragile as they are if it's a hero shooter? Because I feel like I feel like Soldier 76 has more hit points than your average like Call of Duty person in comparison to say.
Yeah. And how many people are going to be doing the 360 no scope?
Yeah.
So for their kills.
I don't know. From there, Death's Gambit is finally coming out. We got a cinematic trailer for this. For anybody who doesn't know, Death's Gambit is it's like a 2D Dark Souls style kind of platformer.
Yeah, I forgot about this until we got about halfway in the trailer, and then I remembered there was a whole thing about it on I think Sony's channel at E3. Like they did a whole thing with it, and that's where I'm like, oh, that's why it seems familiar. Yeah, no, I remember this.
Yeah, I think I look at the. I've been waiting for this for a while because there was the other one it was this, and then there was that one that Devolver was publishing that's like a isometric, like Norse mythology with a lady hero that also looks like it's got a lot of Souls DNA.
No,
in
I
it.
don't know.
I feel like both of that and this were announced like 3 E3s ago, and then they were just like gone. But
Yeah.
but I do wonder. I mean, we're going to find out in a couple weeks, because I think this is the 14th of this month. So 2 weeks we'll be finding out.
This will be I'll be in California by the time this comes out.
California, but I do wonder if this one's going to work, because a lot of time. Well, what Salt and Sanctuary taught me was that 2D Souls. I don't know that Souls really works as well in 2D, because since there's just an element of complexity that is missing, because when you roll, it's like you can only basically roll forward or backwards, right? And if you have invincibility frames and you're rolling through somebody, it makes beating a boss a lot easier, because it's like you just roll through them.
Speaking of Salt and Sanctuary, I think if I'm not mistaken, it gets released on Switch really soon.
I believe it's already out on the Switch.
Oh, may actually be already out then.
Yep. Interesting game. I'd say don't pay full price for it, but it's still fun enough.
But Death's Gambit.
Yep. I don't know. This is a story trailer. It was hard to, there was a lot of just like very dramatic talk about, because I think that like I think that if I remember correctly from some of the other stuff that I've seen, it's like you're Death's right-hand man, basically, and you're going out to try to find this person that Death needs like killed. In any case, I don't know. It looks fun. We'll basically get a chance to try it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Like the 2D pixel art looks nice.
Yeah, it's
I
a
like
little. There's a little bit of turniness to it that I'm not a big fan of that stuff. But we'll see. We'll see in a couple weeks. Tell you what else we'll see. See an awful lot of Terry Bogard and SNK Heroes Tag Team Frenzy.
You heard that right. Terry Bogard.
Fatal Cutie. Terry Bogard busts in. This is the name of this trailer. So, okay, for those of you who might have forgotten, this SNK Heroines is that Switch game that John and I have been talking about, where it's like a
you
one
wait
button.
to talk about this game until I come on, or you just conveniently have me on the podcast when news about this game happens.
That's what happened. This is the like one button.
Literally,
specials.
SNK went, I think John's going to be on this week's podcast. And
Put out
Rich
that trailer!
Put out that trailer. It'll really make him feel weird.
Yep. And it's all the busty ladies of the SNK universe all having a fight in a weird mansion, and it's like all like stars and pink stuff.
And you might be thinking, wait, you said all female. How is Terry Bogard in this?
And John will explain that to you.
Apparently, the storyline for Terry Bogard is that someone has played a prank on him.
Oh, no.
And turned him into a woman.
Wow, what a prank.
And put him in this place.
Uh-huh.
So it's Terry Bogard for the first time in a woman's body.
Uh-huh.
And like apparently there's like even dialogue like in the trailer of like, Terry, what happened to you?
Like the way you said for the first time.
Yeah.
It's Terry Bogard.
Probably not the last.
Not again. Oh no.
Joe Higashi. Turns out this is the prank he plays on him every Tuesday.
Oh man. I think this is really interesting, because I feel like taking a man character and transforming it into a lady character.
It's a very Japanese thing.
It's a very Japanese thing. I feel like it ain't no thing to the developers, to like SNK. They're just like, what? We need another character. Let's take one of the dudes and make him a lady. Who gives a fuck? We'll put a sexy Terry Bogard in here, and I feel like
Give all the Americans the awkward boners.
right. And I feel like it also says a lot about how like I feel like if you gender bent one of these characters in America, that like fans of that character would be all pissed off.
Oh, fans are pissed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
they are pissed about this because
okay.
A lot of the outrage is the fact that I can't remember her name, but there is a character I want to say in Gauru, Fatal Fury Gauru,
Okay.
Mark of the Wolves, that is like obsessed with Terry Bogard, and she's like a sexy blonde-haired girl that dresses exactly like Terry and is obsessed with him and like his #1 fan, and literally it's this character. They just could have used her and said, "Oh, it's this character," and she's gonna be,
this lady. Blue Mary?
No.
No? Okay.
No. But yeah, so like I said, I can't remember the name of the character. It's been so long since I played the game, but I've seen a couple people like bring up the character, and it's just like, all right, whatever. I'm like, I don't care. But a lot of fans are like, why didn't you use her? Why'd you have to gender bend, Terry Bogard? And it's your story that he was a man before he appeared in whatever this game is, and he's like, what? He just wakes up and it's like, wait, what the fuck? I'm a woman now.
Yep. Yeah.
And then dresses sexily.
I don't get
his clothes get more skimpy.
I do not get the impression, John, that the ladies in the castle in the game that they have a choice about whether to dress modestly or not. Every trailer has been like fewer clothes.
Like I look at it this way.
Yeah,
SNK don't give a fuck about this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, this is just par for the course. Like, I'm not shocked by this.
No.
I'm not.
No.
Am I going to play this game? If you end up getting it, yeah, sure, probably. I'll probably be the one on the dojo for it.
After the amount of times that we've talked about it.
And if I'm not the one on the dojo for it, you'll probably be like, John, we did the dojo for this. Here's the game.
Right.
And I'll be like, okay. And I'll take it home and go play it because that's what I do when someone hands me a game is I go home and go play it.
Yeah.
As long as it's not called Skyrim. But
Ooh.
well, you handed me Skyrim once, and I took it home, and I never played it.
Oh, for what?
It was a long time ago. You handed me Skyrim for the PS3.
Okay. In any case, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Well, okay. So for me personally, one, I don't give a fuck about changing I don't give a fuck about Terry Bogard. So I don't give a fuck about changing Terry Bogard into a lady. I don't give a fuck about the SNK storyline, and I don't care. So
yeah,
this looks ridiculous in Japanese.
It's a stupid game. Like, it even kind of some of the stuff that I've been reading about it, like the news items that we've been reading about since the news of it came out.
Yeah,
kind of sounds like this is some kind of weird fantasy game. Like, it may not actually be reality, and like it.
I think that it falls into the same category as Galgun. It's basically just like an SNK sexy spinoff, because it's also worth noting, again, that it's a simplified fighting game, right? So it's
exclusive to the Nintendo Switch.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's true.
So,
but in any case, this is weird and magical.
Weird. Terry Bogard.
It's
weird boners all around.
Very strange.
I have the weirdest one.
Yep.
So,
speaking of weird boners, how about giant bugs? What kind of weird boner does that give you? 0?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Earth Defense Force 5. We got this is technically listed on the PlayStation YouTube channel as the first trailer. I think that this might actually just be the English version of, because
I feel like this is the same trailer, just now it's in English.
I think so too. EDF. This looks a lot like EDF 4.1, but with like a better shader. I think I said this the last time. Yeah. EDF is fun. I wish that they would fix it a little bit, but
who knows? Maybe they did.
I love playing EDF, but the idea that EDF wants me to play every mission like 8 times, I'm like,
well, what I love about it is every time I see an EDF game, I'm like, man, they really didn't even bother to improve the graphics or anything.
Right.
And then like I'll look at video comparisons between the previous EDF and the current one.
Right.
And it's like, oh no, they did improve the graphics. My memory was telling me that the graphics looked better than they did, even though they looked bad back then.
They just didn't improve them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This looks okay. Again, I kind of the more times that I play EDF, and the more times EDF wants me to play. Like, I feel like EDF should just be something that's fast and easy to get through, and it's really.
But
not.
I like the EDF games anyway, so they're fun.
Oh boy, we're out of time. All right, let's speed this up a little bit.
Let's keep going.
Life is Strange 2 got a teaser. Somebody being called to a disturbance in a cop car. We got some cop VHS
footage from the vehicle. Yeah, the vehicle flips over,
gets blown over by some superpowers. That's pretty much it. I was thinking while we were watching this, I feel like I'm all twisted up. Where whenever I hear something about Life is Strange 2, I'm like, didn't that game fucking come out already? Because there was Life is Strange, and there was Life is Strange Before the Storm, and then there was The Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Yeah,
and it's just like there's been a lot of Life is Strange that is not Life is Strange 2. Also, Life is Strange 2 or Life is Strange 1 came out so long ago for the type of game that it is. Anyway, we'll know more about that on August 20th.
All will be revealed.
Yeah.
Not even that the game will be released, but just all will be revealed.
All will be revealed. Phantom Doctrine got a new trailer.
Oh, hey.
Mission debriefing trailer, which I feel like I'm the only one who's really interested in this game. It looks like a Cold War 80s XCOM with some like weird spy shit going on, and I'm super into it.
Yeah, no, it seems interesting.
One of the greatest tragedies of my life is when Rockstar canceled Agent. Was that the name of it?
Yeah.
Their 80s Cold War game they were working on.
I didn't know that was an 80s Cold War game. I just knew the title.
Yeah, but this...
Because they actually, it's one of the few times they ever showed up on a press conference stage.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Because it was going to be like a PlayStation 3 exclusive, I think, or something like that. But anyway, Phantom Doctrine looks really cool, and if you're not keeping track of it, maybe you do. It's actually from the developer that made a game that we actually played here called Hard West that Joe and I played a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I played that as well.
It was like XCOM, but a Western, right?
Yeah. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's coming out in not too terribly long, August 14th. So, keep an eye out. Also, in August, on the what is it? The 28th, Donut Country is finally coming out.
Hey, it's finally coming out.
Which I'm a big fan of. For those of you who don't know, basically this is Katamari Damacy, except with a big hole instead of a big ball.
Yeah, there's been a big thing about this is because there's a company, like there's a bunch of companies that make mobile games that have been just since the first trailer for this game came out, have just been releasing like shovelware, ripping
just
off
copying
the idea.
the fuck out of it.
Yeah, and it it's this plus like a few other games that's been happening too. It's been kind of a thing.
Huh, that sucks. Because this looks. Hey, from day one, this has looked charming as hell. It still looks charming as hell. I cannot wait to play this game.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Really fun. August is getting a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many big things we have this month, but we have a lot of interesting things happening.
I feel like we got one more week of nothing and then just a bunch of interesting things.
Yeah.
And then starting next month in September is when stuff starts coming out.
That's when we start to ramp up to the actual.
I think
Madden comes out at the end of
Spider-Man's next month.
Okay, that's next month because that went gold just recently too.
Yeah.
I know because their thing where it went gold was they took their Spider-Man model and put him behind the desk like the meme from the cartoon.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. All right, couple quick things, and then we're gonna take a break. Mario's getting a dress in Super Mario Odyssey.
All right.
The Harriet hat and the Harriet suit. So I'm sure, I don't know, it's Mario in a dress running around. You do you, Mario. I'm not judging. This summer, if you're interested, Vampire, which was Don't Nod, who did the original Life is Strange game, right?
Yeah.
Is getting 2 new difficulty modes.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't played this game. I actually kind of want to.
One is I got it if you want to borrow it. I think I bought it physical. One of them is a hard mode that basically is going to force you into more, because in the game you can choose to basically get experience points boost from sucking civilians, from like feeding on civilians. And I feel like this mode you're going to get so much less XP from encounters that you're going to need to do that. And then the other side of the spectrum, they're adding in a basically like super easy just story difficulty level.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a reason to play Vampire, I don't know. It was an interesting game. I don't really know that
I heard like
deep into it.
I heard good things in that people liked it.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear like anyone ranting and raving about it. Like it kind of got like, no, it's good. And that's it. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah. 72 on Metacritic. So
like it's weird. Like right now, I feel like you only hear about games if it's like terribly bad. Like you only hear a lot about games if it's just like terribly, disappointingly bad and like the worst thing and the most insulting game to be released in history of video games, or if it's like the greatest thing since Mario on the NES.
Right.
You don't really hear very much about those games that they're okay.
Yeah, kind of between the two. Capcom put out a statement saying that they are interested in maybe doing more remakes after the interest that has been garnered by the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Of course you are, Capcom.
Yep. Further, they said, regarding remakes and re-releases of titles in our back catalog, we expect to explore these further with a variety of properties as a part of our strategy to utilize our library of IP. God damn it, Capcom, you were doing well, but do you remember like 2 years ago when all Capcom was putting out was like HD versions of like Resident Evil and Devil May Cry and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, it sounds like they're not going to do HD versions. They're going to remake the games.
Okay,
entirely,
great.
Much like they're doing with, turns out, the RE2 remake.
Right. What do you want them to remake?
I don't really... I don't care.
UN Squadron! Woo! UN Squadron for life.
You know, actually, I do know what I want them to remake.
What's that?
Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Okay. There you go.
That's Capcom, right? Yeah, that's Capcom. Yeah, it's Capcom. That's Hagar.
You heard him. John wants that Slam Masters game. And last but not least, before we go on break, we got a little thing here. So last week, apparently, there was a big old EVE Online throwdown. Where, let's see, what happened? The Imperium attacked a vulnerability in the Northern Coalition's Keep Star, which is basically like a big giant Death Star-y thing. And the two of them basically got into it in one of these EVE things that just like everyone was like, oh shit, get to your ships, we gotta go. At the end of the conflict, it appeared that estimates have the damage of basically real money that was in the game lost at somewhere between $80,000 and $120,000. I love watching EVE Online so much. A lot of ways I wish I could play it, but it's like then I'd have to give up, I don't know, all the other video games that I play and my life, probably. But I always like it when I hear the complicated confidence scams or the like large scale space battles that ended up with $80,000 worth of money.
Or just fucking crazy stories of like a guy going essentially going undercover and joining a specific faction and then working his way up the faction and then setting like events in motion like after like for like 5 years being undercover in this faction and then setting off events and things to happen so that his actual faction can come in and steal everything.
Yep.
Like literally 5 to 6 years these people like have this long con going on.
Yep.
In the game. And it's just like I read about this stuff and I'm just like, what the fuck?
It's so fascinating, but it's so impenetrable that I prefer just every year or two to read one of these stories instead of trying to get into it. But and that is the news. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to read emails. So stick around and we'll see you in a second. And we're back. John, it's time for everybody's favorite part of the Good Old Rage Slate podcast. That is question time. Mail@rageslate.com is the email address. And our first question this week comes in from Juho, I believe. This kind of goes to one of the things that we were just talking about, but it kind of casts the net a little bit wider. So, and he writes in and says, hi, Jeff and John. Jump straight into the questions. The latest E3 revealed the remaster of Resident Evil 2. Holy shit, it looks amazing. I know, never trust the hype, but the hype is real. I don't really play horror games. The last one I bought was RE4 on the PS2, but thanks to the nostalgic memories of the original RE2, I kind of must have this. Question, what other old games would you like to have the same remaster treatment? I think that good old Freedom Fighters for the PS2 would be pretty damn good. Also, it needs a goddamn sequel. With regards, and that's from Juho. So I feel like we've moved when we started this console generation, it was just like remaster after remaster after remaster, and then we're starting to see like Shadow of the Colossus and stuff like that having like full on remakes.
Which I would even say Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza Kiwami 2 are fall into that category as well. Yeah, of remakes.
Yeah. So the question is, what game would you like to see get a full on remake? I guess I could just say it's sky's the limit here. So I don't know, story remaster, graphical
I got
remaster.
2.
Okay, you got 2?
Yeah.
All right.
And
lay
what's
'em on.
interesting,
Okay.
one of these games, I don't know if that's the game he's talking about where he says Freedom
Fighters? Yeah.
but Freedom Force.
That's a different game.
That is a different game. Okay. But
Yep.
Freedom Force.
Yep.
And then its sequel, Freedom Force versus the Third Reich.
Yes.
I fucking love those games.
It's like turn-based Golden Age superhero.
It's Diablo,
Oh, is it an ARPG? I thought it was more of like
no, I mean it's a
tactical
point-and-click tactical thing with superheroes. But
Okay.
it's action. It's like it's not turn-based.
Oh, okay.
But it was really good, really cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
It was by Take-Two, if I remember correctly, or by the same people who did BioShock or Irrational Games, not Take-Two, Irrational. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
I remember it.
Maybe not Irrational. I'm blanking on.
Let's see. This was Crave Entertainment.
Crave Entertainment.
Yep.
No,
Irrational Games.
Yeah, it was Irrational Games.
Published by Crave Entertainment. And
Yeah, but
EA.
yeah, no, I fucking love this game, and I always wished it had gotten to do more and gotten more of it because it was so cheesy, so Golden Age comic booky.
Yeah.
It was great.
I remember those games. I never really got a chance. They had like a very kind of like old school Golden Age art style with the kind of like weird Jack Kirby-esque kind of big.
Yeah, Jack Kirby-esque art style, and then like the little cuts, the animated cutscenes were very reminiscent of those old Marvel cartoons.
Yeah.
Like the old ones where like you actually had like the overacting, and he would talk like this as he would fight for freedom and
Right.
America.
Okay.
Like stupid stuff like that, and just really, really just fun, really good gameplay. I would love to see a remake of these games or a new game in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, kind of the same thing. Probably if you were to remake it, it would just be a new game in the franchise. But the movies, I will say it forever. The movies, it's old Lionhead game.
Yeah, you love that game.
Fucking awesome.
You love that game. You can bury that
Sims,
game.
but with a movie theater. It was basically a movie studio simulator,
Right.
Like a good one.
But then you could actually then export the movies that you made
into
files.
.mov files,
Right?
and,
yeah.
share them online and put them. And like in the age of YouTube,
Right.
Like that game was so fucking ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if Lionhead were still around,
Yes.
and they were to have made that game now, oh man. Now, mind you, I feel like the game would have to be way more. There'd have to be way more to it,
Right.
Because just graphic-wise and everything, and how much detail goes into it. But one thing I liked about it is the story mode was essentially a history of Hollywood. Like it was literally kind of teaching you in a little bit of ways of how the Hollywood system and the film industry and cinema history was. I mean, it wasn't really teaching you, but you would play through the eras until you got to the modern age, and then you could also make your own movies and you could write your own scripts and just. I fucking love that game. I still have my copy of it. I have the expansion, which is where it adds stunts and special effects.
Well, it also, I also feel like from what you've told me about it, that it would also be like the perfect place to sell people a base game with a bunch of shit and then sell expansions and add-ons with
Yeah.
themes for, this is one is going to add 400 new horror props to your, your
totally.
library. And then you and I can make our own Slenderman movie in the movies that's better than
And
the dumb.
you could, and the great thing about it, the other cool thing about it is like when you made your movies, you could actually tell the game, just put word balloons in.
Yeah.
Or you could actually record your own dialogue, and you could actually get friends as long as you had a microphone. You could be like, you could say the dialogue and basically dub over the video.
Okay.
And it's like, oh man, I fucking love that game. I still have my copy of it. Like I said, I still play it every now and then. I made sure that it worked on my computer and play it.
Can you probably still get that on GOG or something like that, right?
I don't know, but I have my disc copy of it.
Okay.
Still, so but yeah, I fucking love that game, and I wish it was updated.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the rights for it are, or if. But I know it was Lionhead.
It's designed by Peter Molyneux.
Yeah. Like, I think it was the most genius thing that he ever did that didn't get any attention when it came out.
Okay.
Because, again, I feel like it came out too
you
soon.
can just download it.
Yeah.
It's on a website called myabandonware.com.
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah, I feel like it came out too soon because, like again, like I said, it like they were like, oh, we'll host your video files, and it was just like the file qualities weren't great,
Right.
but like the community was actually pretty strong for it. I feel like for what it was, it just. I feel like, you know, it shut down and then YouTube kind of started to become a thing, and it was just like, oh man, if you had just waited like maybe like 6-7 years and came out with another version of it that did the exact same thing, it was just better graphics, fucking gangbusters, like Machinima.
Yeah.
Like this was Machinima before there was fucking Machinima.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the sort of thing that would be maybe not even that, but maybe just like some kind of a like large expansion for The Sims would maybe let you do something
Well, I mean,
like that.
I think one of the Sims game did do that.
Yeah.
I think Rooster Teeth even did a series using the tools that came with that, Strangerhood.
Okay. I got a lot. I got a lot of answers to this question.
Okay.
I'll start though with seconding Freedom Force. Have you ever played Freedom Force? It was an old
You mean Freedom Fighters?
Freedom Fighters, yes, Freedom Fighters. It was an old game. It was an IO interactive game. I feel like it was between Hitman and Kane and Lynch or something like that. And it was basically like you played as a plumber, and there was a giant Russian invasion. And then you basically, it was like kind of a third-person like action game. I actually went and tested it out one day to see if I could get it to run on my system, and I can. But you basically kind of run through, and it's like a third-person kind of action game. And what's interesting about it is that every mission like advances time. So it's like the Russians invade, you take off and go into the sewers and start assembling a team, and then it's like a squad-based third-person action game where you take a team of people and take them out into the world and basically guerrilla fight against the invading army in order to liberate the United States.
Seems familiar.
Yeah, it was really good. I remember playing it. It is one of those ones where I feel like, yes, I wish that there was more of this, or if they just took the first one and remade it. I feel like it was interesting and fun, and it would be cool to see that go again.
You know, it'll be another good one.
Tell me,
Max Payne.
The original Max Payne. Yeah, I can see
the first
that.
Max Payne do that. Current graphical settings.
So it's not just constipated Max face the entire time.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm tired of looking at Sam Lake's face.
Let me just get out of the way. All right. Metal Gear, Dark Souls 1, right? Demon Souls, like all those to be updated. Metal Gear, especially. To be honest, Dark Souls, and especially with the remaster or with the whatever they calling that. Demon Souls, it would be nice if more people could play Demon Souls, right?
Yeah.
But Metal Gear 1 is the only game that doesn't have an HD version, right? You can play
Twin Snakes. It's a remake. It is a remake.
That's true. But the answer to this question is I want original Metal Gear Solid 1, not this weird thing, Silicon Knights and fucking the director of Versus, Snake's backflipping off of a missile. I kind of liked it when it was, I mean, I'm never going to call Metal Gear realistic, but it was more realistic than what ended up happening in Twin Snakes. I'm not a fan of Twin Snakes. And I've gone through all the arguments. It's fine if you like. I'm not saying that you got to stop liking Twin Snakes. All I'm saying is that I don't like Twin Snakes.
I understand,
but
I'm just. You said there's never been a remake or an HD or proper HD, and I'm just like, there was. You just didn't like it.
Well, no, but like the GameCube version isn't full HD. Like I think that you could get 480i or something like that out of it. But I'm talking about like a 1080p version of it. Like the thing is that with the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and Peace Walker were all put in like full-on 1080p HD the way that they were originally released. Metal Gear Solid 4 was released in HD. Metal Gear Solid 5 was released in HD. Metal Gear Solid 1 is the only one of that franchise that doesn't have like a full-on, here's the original game, but the graphics are updated to be HD.
Okay.
Now, I think it would need to be remade because I think if you just took the the weird block faces where their block faces are going back and forth. That wouldn't be really very effective. But I'm gonna throw I'm gonna throw it in there another time. No One Lives Forever is a fucking amazing game. No One Lives Forever 2 is more amazing, and I feel like those games do not get the attention they deserve, and that they should definitely get some HD remakes. I'm going to throw another one in there that I feel is a game that is well regarded, but I feel like in order to play it today, it would need to be fully remade, and that is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Because I feel like when you try it, well, first off, I don't think there's a place. There was that weird GameCube release of Ocarina, but really, I mean, it was never on the Wii. It was never on the Switch or the Wii U. It's not on the Switch. It was on the 3DS. But even so, I don't think that Ocarina of Time holds up if like me, you don't have the nostalgia to back it up. The central hub of the game is this wide open area. It just doesn't have a lot in it, and all of the mechanics are a little bit clunky. I would like to see that game kind of remade from the bottom up just to get a better version of it out there, because it is so well regarded, and it's hard for me to see that because I never played it when it originally came out. There was one more that was kind of rattling. There were a few more that were rattling around in my head. One of my favorite games of all time is an old PC game called Hostile Waters Antaeus Rising. We were talking about Warren Ellis writing Castlevania. Warren Ellis wrote the script of that game, and then like Tom Baker and a bunch of really good like British actors did all of the like voiceover and a lot of the acting for the game. And it's basically like in the future there's no more war. And this cabal of like the people that were ousted from society, like old, like corrupt generals and business people and whatever, like build an army. And so they raise the last of these like carriers from the ocean that was like a nanotech war machine. And then they put you to command it. And you're basically building, it's like an RTS, except that you can take control of any unit. And then you also pick up all these like personality chips that you put into different units. And like, so you'll have a personality chip for somebody that's like a tank driver. But if you don't have the ability to build a tank, you have to put them in something like a helicopter, and they're not as good. So you might have to jump in and then do the helicopter parts yourself. One of my favorite games, and I feel like one that very few people actually remember or have played. There's a lot of old stuff like that. I'm trying to think. There's probably a few more out there that I could think of, but there's nothing immediately coming to mind. Yeah. There's actually a release on Steam this week of a game that I'm pretty sure is a re-release of an old game. I'm curious to know if you remember this one, John. It was called, let's see. Oh, yeah, right. Steam is garbage, and it's hard to find anything on it. Okay, hold on. It was like an old 3D kind of like flying around. Oh, no, wait, I don't want popular. I want all new releases.
Knights?
No, not that. It's like a like it's. If I remember correctly, it's kind of like Descent. It was kind of like Descent around that time when Descent came out, and there were a bunch of Descent clones. I remember it very briefly because the box art has this lady that has like a heart tattoo on her face, which was a weird.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Do you?
I can't think of the title of it though.
Oh my god, it's so hard to find any goddamn thing on Steam,
especially when you don't know the title of it.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Forsaken.
Yeah, that's
right. You remember this game?
Yeah.
I've a very.
I remember the trailer. You repeated the word Forsaken a lot.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was literally. It's like you are forsaken. You are forsaken. You are forsaken. You are like as the game footage is playing, and it's just like. It made no sense.
And this is like you're just flying around like inside of a weird base or something like that. Yeah.
So someone remade it?
Yeah. They basically just... It's from Night Dive, the studio that put out the System Shock, and then they were making the like System Shock remake, which also I feel like was a good idea. I kind of wish they would have kept going instead of trying to figure out... Because, they were changing it so much, they decided that they were basically making a new game instead of putting out System Shock. So they decided to pull it back and redo it. There's one more that I was thinking of. Oh, you know what I would love to see again? I'd love to see the original Space Quest series get the Monkey Island HD treatment and get updated to a modern audience, because I miss the Space Quest. Space Quest was one of the first games I ever played.
Yeah, I know that the two guys from Andromeda were supposed to. They did that Kickstarter a long time ago, and that game never came out.
Yeah. Was it a remake or was it a sequel?
Well, they
was it
were
a new one?
a spiritual sequel kind of thing, because they don't have the rights to Space Quest.
Oh.
But
Sierra still haven't.
yeah. But yeah, I know they're still working on it because I see updates from them every now and then on Facebook. But yeah.
Also, Juho, if you were a fan of horror games, you know, John and I will tell you, even played one since Resident Evil 4. RE7 was really great.
Yeah.
I really would recommend getting it, because you can probably get it for a song now with all the DLC.
Yeah, it was really good.
Let's see. Ian writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John. So earlier this week I went on vacation, but before I could leave for the airport, my work called and told me they were planning on relocating my department, customer service, from Bothell, Washington to Rochester, New York. They presented a couple of options: assisted relocation, severance package, or apply for another position in the company still in Bothell.
I've been there.
Overall, this has put a kind of a damper on my trip." Well, it's good. Have you ever had a piece of news or event tint your perspective on something fun that you were planning? Ian, P.S. The trip is to Austin, so if you are doing a meetup for RTX, I'll see you there. I don't know if I am doing a meeting. Last time we did an RTX meetup, I think there was like 2 people in town, and I don't know. We'll have to maybe poll out there and see if there are a bunch of people in town that want to hang out, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think last year there was a not planned but like last minute decision to do a meetup,
right?
But like no one told anyone.
I didn't tell anyone.
Well, it's just like I didn't know about it until like 5 minutes before everyone was already at the bar,
right?
And it was just like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Is that the time that you had a piece of news tint your perspective on something that you were planning?
No, I mean, I don't know if I had anything like. I mean, obviously, yeah. There's been some stuff like I almost had something that tinted my my trip, because I have a trip coming up, and there was a very brief moment where I thought I was going to have to quit my job.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, it's funny because I was prepared, like hadn't told my boss or anything, but I was prepared that if something was going to happen, I was going to have to quit. Yeah. And I was going to go on my vacation, and then I was going to come back and look for a new job.
Yeah.
But that ended up not having to happen. So that's I was worried that was going to happen. But I did work for Dell a long while back, where they my department got moved to Oklahoma City. And or got moved to Oklahoma, maybe not Oklahoma City, but they got moved somewhere else. And they were like, we can either move you there, you can take a severance package, or you can find a job in another department. Yeah. Also, we're on a hiring freeze. Yeah. And no departments are hiring. And if they are, it's a very like limited, like most of you will either have to move or take the severance package. And I think I was one of like 2 people in the department who just went severance package. But also it was weird because I felt really bad because I was also one of the few people that was actually offered a position in another department. Like a manager walked up to me and was like, "John, do you need a job in another department? Because I have an opening. I don't even have to do an interview. The position is yours. Do you want it?" And I was like, nah,
give me the money.
I was like, no offense, man. I want out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate this place, but I want out. And it like came at a really good time when I was really just burned out on customer service and everything. I just needed to do something else.
You mean like your second day at a customer service job?
Huh?
You mean like your second day at a customer service job when you're burned out on customer service?
I'd been there for like 5 years, 6 years. So I got a pretty decent severance package when I left. And then I went and blew it all by not working for an entire year, right? Which I kind of regret doing because I wish I would have saved some of that. But but I needed it. Like mentally, I needed it. But yeah, it was funny because like other people, I was like, yeah, man, I don't need. I'm taking the severance package, but if you want to offer it to one of these other people, feel free. And like other people were like, did he say offering a position? And like he was like, no, this is literally only for you. Like my department is not hiring, but I can actually make
an exception
for you and make an argument on why you specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any of these other people and can't make that argument. And I was like, I appreciate the effort. Thank you for looking out for me. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. I'm racking my brain, and I think I have maybe one thing, but like for the most part, my life is odd in the fact that I like, knock on wood, like my family is mostly healthy, and I had a friend of mine died this year. But he'd been working at that for a decade.
Yeah, like I can't. Like I'm actually trying to think of it's kind of the same thing. I'm trying to think if there's actually a thing that dampened a vacation or anything, and I can't.
The only thing I can think of is that I got the the Jeff and Jason puppets.
Yeah,
is I got them the week that we got fired from Spill.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, these things are fucking awesome. And then it was like, hey, by the way, bye. And it was just like, oh, also. Jason and I you guys can badger me until the cows come home. I will never discuss this because I can't really. But Jason and I had a project that we were doing that was starting to come together the same week that we were. We had like a first draft kind of this thing that we wanted to do.
No, I remember.
Yeah, that happened the same week. So it's like it was a really cool week full of like interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, bye,
Yeah,
Felicia.
that was a weird time because it was kind of, I've been dating Amanda for a while, and I've slowly made friends with all of you guys. And some of the people at Spill I didn't even want to be friends with. I was just like, I tolerate you because you work with my girlfriend.
Sure.
Sorry to reveal that to you now that's how I felt, but no, I'm joking.
I knew. I still know.
No, but you and I were becoming friends, and I would actually get privy to a lot of the stuff that you guys were going to be planning on doing. I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. And then sometimes it would be a thing where you, Amanda, and a few other people that worked at Spill would just be out of the bar and spit shopping ideas of things that you can do for the loading bar to make it better.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I would interject something and you'd be like, that's actually a good idea. Mm-hmm. Or no, I don't like that idea. Shut the fuck up. You're not part of Spill.
That sounds like Jeff. Yeah, that sounds like
No, I'm
you
joking.
shut your mouth,
Yeah,
boyfriend. No. We don't require your input.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where I was slowly starting to find out about stuff that you guys did and actually was kind of excited. As a person who doesn't care about your website, I'm actually kind of excited about these things that you're planning on doing. Mm-hmm. And then that week's they all got fired. Well, fuck.
But see, the strange thing about that, this is the problem that I'm having with this particular question, is that I was excited, then we got fired. That put a little damper on it. But Jason and I got drunk the day after we got fired, and then we took the next day to sleep, and then the day after that we started designing Rage Select.
Yeah,
and then it was just wah!
And there was enough stuff that you had talked about in your free time that was not brought up to anyone.
Right.
That it was basically well, we could do this on our own thing. We hadn't even pitched it to anyone yet. It was still in the planning stages of being pitched, and fuck it, let's do it,
Yep. So, and other than that, I mean, outside of Rage Select and Spill, I mean, I for the most part have had jobs. See, I'm in a weird place, John, because I had a lot of tech jobs during the tech boom in the 90s, and then I quit that, and I went back to school right around the time of the tech crash, and I was being subsidized for my school by my dad, and I was working part-time with my best friend at a job. You know those jobs that you get where it's they're so low on staff and so inept that they can't fire you because who the fuck else is going to keep this place goddamn running? You know that.
I do know that job.
Yeah.
As well.
So me and my friend, and then we had another couple friends that worked at the same place, this local computer store. It's called Mr. Notebook. I don't give a fuck. People know. We ran the hell out of that place, and we did our jobs, and we were paid relatively well for it. It kind of sucked, but whatever. We're selling computers and fixing computers and stuff like that. So during the economic downturn, so that was after the tech crash, right? I went back to school and I worked this part-time job that was such a small company that one day I went to my boss. I was like, I'm really burned out. He's like, you want to go work in the warehouse for a year? And I was like, yeah. So then I just worked in their warehouse in South Austin, like testing computers and like testing these big pallets of broken shit that they got and then putting together functional computers and sending them out, which was fine. I worked with the warehouse guys for a year. Then I was like, I'm sick of this. Can I come back to the store? And they were like, yes, please. And so I went back to the store. Then the financial crash happened, but right around the time that happened was when I started working for Corey at Spill. And so it was like, well, this isn't a local job type of thing, right? This is a weird internet thing, and they were paying us. They're paying a huge, they're paying us. And then after we got fired from Spill, I started up Rage Select, and Rage Select patrons have been, which you patrons are the best. Every Monday I send an email, and I say, you patrons are the best. I fucking love you guys. And
he means it.
It's true. I really do. It's been 5+ years that I've been running a goddamn internet business that's been paying the bills. And so the problem that I'm having with this question is that, like, I haven't worked in the corporate world in a decade or more, maybe. And the places that I've worked either for myself or in the private sector have been places that have been relatively not shitty.
Yeah.
So I've never,
Well, it's like I can also say that, I've worked for about 4 or 5 different companies through my entire life of where I've been working jobs. And I can say that I've never hated, with the exception of one, I've never felt like I've been treated shittily by a job.
Yeah.
But I do get burned out on jobs regularly.
I mean, I guess up until I started working, that's the other thing is that up until the point where I started working for Corey, jobs were the garbage thing you have to do for 8 hours a day so that you can do fun stuff on the weekends, right? Like, I never expected to like my job. Like, I burned through, I worked for Apple, I worked for Dell, I worked for Microsoft, I worked for fucking, I worked for everybody. I moved to Seattle and worked for Microsoft for a year. I worked for Sony Online Entertainment. Like, I've worked for a lot of different places, but I would never expect to like the job that I had.
Yeah, well, it's just like, for me, it's a kind of interesting because, like, I think every time I start to get burned out on a job, it's usually like by the time I'm mentally ready to just say fuck this place, something happens and I end up leaving anyways. Like, my first job, I was like, I'm fucking done with this place, and an opportunity came up to work at Dell. So I was like, fuck it, I'll take it. Yeah. And I took it. And I started getting disgruntled with Dell, like not with anything they specifically were doing, but just the situation. Like, I was never upset with the company as a whole, just the situation I was in within that company.
Yeah.
And it was just a shitty situation. Mm-hmm. And I was ready to get to fucking leave, and my boss said, wait a few months, and then a few months later they announced you can either take the severance package, move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where it was, Tulsa. You can move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or you can move to a different department.
Yeah.
And what was fucked up about the Tulsa thing, though, it wasn't even a guaranteed move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. You had to go to an interview for the job you already had, but in Tulsa. And apparently, out of our department, which had like 30 people, only 3 people did that, and only one of them got hired.
Wow. Also, I could say that you might also be asking the wrong 2 people on
true.
Rage Select, because over the years, I mean, after I turned 30, I started mellowing way the fuck out. John is a pretty fucking mellow dude. I mean, at least the entire time that I've known you.
Yeah.
Every so often you get a head of steam going, and you're just like, go fuck yourself. But like, not often.
Yeah.
So even if I was on vacation and they were like, hey, the internet's been shut down, you don't have a job anymore, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna finish out my vacation. I'm not gonna think about this for 4 days, and then when I get home, we'll start.
Then it'll be. Then I will drop on. And yeah, and pretty much that's kind of how I was gonna handle the thing where I thought I was gonna have to quit my current job.
Yeah.
And who knows what'll happen when I get back from my vacation. But it was very much I'm going to go do my vacation. I don't fucking care. And when I come back, then I'll worry about it. I'll break down and, freak out and wonder what the hell's going to happen.
Which, Ian, I do realize that doesn't apply to you because, you're in the middle of doing something and your company is like, hey, we made this decision. We need to, get back to us, right? So,
yeah.
like, It's just I literally haven't ever found myself under those circumstances.
Close to those circumstances, but not exactly those circumstances.
Yes. Oscar writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John, having recently watched How It Ends on Netflix, the movie reminded me a lot of an old game, I Am Alive, especially towards the end. It was such a good game, but they never finished it. Just slapped an ending and slapped on an ending. We never found out what happens. Which game, either lost in development hell or just never got a full-fledged ending, do you need? Thanks for all the hours of entertainment, Oscar." You remember I Am Alive?
I do. I remember not really liking that game.
Yeah, me too. When it finally came out, I think Jason and I played it on the loading bar.
I played a lot of that game because there was nothing else out, and I was so upset that I bought it that I was just like, well, I'm going to at least beat it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think I got to the end of it. I think I got about like 2/3 of the way through it and was just like, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I also remember so much hype for the game before it came out, because like apparently, if I remember correctly, it was advertised as one type of game, and then like at some point like the company lost a lot of money, so then they rebuilt the game from the ground up and made it much smaller in scale.
Yeah. It had this kind of like it was like a catastrophic like event, and then you were just kind of trying to survive in the rubble, but you had like I remember the first trailer for it where they were in the building, and it turns out that they were standing on top of glass, of like on a skyscraper that was on its side type of thing. I don't know. But enough of that. Let's see. Games that you feel either unreleased games, lost in development hell, or need a full-fledged ending, something that had maybe a slapped-on ending that could have used a better ending.
Well, a game that never came out that always upset me was an old game. It was originally advertised for the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
Robotech Crystal Dreams.
Interesting.
I don't know if this game was going to be any good. And this was back in a time before YouTube was around, so there's not a lot of trailers or anything about it. But all I remember is I was a huge Robotech nerd back in the day, and they had announced this game, and the big thing about it was like that you could travel from like Earth to Mars in real time. Mm-hmm. Like if you wanted to do it, it would take like hours upon hours to do it, but like you could do it.
Yeah.
And like I totally wanted this game.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember being obsessed with it, so much so that when my mom was going to be like, I'm going to buy you a new console, and you can choose either a PlayStation, a Sega Dreamcast, or not Dreamcast, the Sega Saturn, or this, or you can wait until Christmas and I'll get you the N64.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking Robotech Crystal Dreams is coming out on the N64 according to this magazine. I want N64, kind of thing. And then the game development hell never came out.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, like there's a demo copy of it that's been making the rounds or whatever that I guess someone may have ripped the ROM off of or something.
Yeah.
And apparently it was not that good. But still disappointing.
I mean, you never knew. You didn't know. You didn't know ahead of time. Robotech is, I feel like, one of those games like where there should be a bunch of really good video games in the Robotech franchise or Macross or whatever you want to call it. But like there aren't for some reason. Kind of like Gundam, where there's some, but you're like, this thing. I feel like these games would make themselves, right? Like the shows are about blowing up a bunch of shit in space.
Well, it's just like Transformers until the War for Cybertron or whatever it was. There were no good Transformer games.
Yeah. Which, again, you have to want... Or Batman. You know, there have been mostly a lot of dud Batman games.
There have been some good ones.
Definitely. Yeah, we're actually looking at some video of this. It looks pretty cool. It's like a 3D space simulator. I like it. It's a little distracting, though. I like that they've got like your characters reflected in the glass in front of you and then kind of moves around when you fly the ship. I'm going to give my very, 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 very Jeff answer. Everybody knows it. You know who's going to say it along with me? Prey 2. The year that I went to E3 and they showed off that demo for Prey 2, my God, did that game look amazing. This was back when it was, I think it was like Human Head Studios or whatever, and it was like you played as because Prey 1 had this whole like being abducted by aliens, you know, the main character, and this was like your character was like a U.S. Marshal that had accidentally gotten thrown to the other side of the galaxy, and that you had then decided to like you had been living on the other side of the galaxy, kind of like a Star-Lord situation, and had decided to you would become a bounty hunter for aliens on the other side of the universe. And the aliens were just like, what's that thing? All right, whatever. Like they kind of like I don't know, they kind of like trusted you, right? And so it's going to have like all this kind of like traversal stuff. And you were basically going to be this like weird alien bounty hunter on the other side of the world on like this alien planet. And you were going to run around. It was going to be first person. And you're going to have all these like futuristic jet boots and shit. And like, it just looked really cool. It looked like a really good thing. I love Prey. I like what they did with Prey, but this game looked really, really, really interesting. And it's a real shame that they could never get it together.
Yeah.
Because it was, I mean, it had a lot of potential.
I'm trying to think of the ending, like if there's ever an ending that felt slapped on, or I mean, I know there are tons of games that have endings that feel slapped on.
Yeah. Like what game? Oh, well, yeah, okay, that's a good one. Silent Hills. I'm looking at a website of canceled video games. And not just PT, but you remember that trailer? Like I feel like everybody gets focused in, even I get focused in on the whole Kojima aspect of it, but the fact that Junji Ito was doing the weird monsters in that game, and I'm just like, no, that would have been amazing. Guillermo del Toro and fucking Norman Reedus. God damn, that was like the all-star project. Like that would have bringing back Silent Hill into the minds of people everywhere, doing what Resident Evil 7 did, but 2 years earlier for fucking Silent Hill. That could have been amazing. That could have been the most amazing thing. Ooh. Oh yeah. And Star Wars 1313, as well as, that Amy Hennig Star Wars project seemed like it was kind of interesting before they axed it. Who could say? Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's another one. StarCraft Ghost. So now Star Fox. This list has Star Fox 2 on it, but that actually, they put that out.
Technically.
Sort of. We beat that game on, like, in 45 minutes. Oh, we were talking about this earlier. Agent, yeah. The Rockstar PlayStation 3 80s Cold War game that never existed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man. Yeah, that's definitely one. Yeah, wasn't it disappointing endings or games that could have had a better ending, or the ending felt like it was tacked on?
What's weird is the only one that comes to mind is a licensed game.
Uh-huh.
And specifically X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Okay.
Because that game was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the last level. Because it felt like they just went, fuck it, just make something. And that last level was just garbage. But otherwise, that game was really, really good.
Van Buren, the original Fallout 3, where they were going to make, it was 3D. It was like still top down like Fallout, but it was 3D models instead of 2D. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
Trying to think of endings. Anyway, yeah. So there's plenty of stuff out there. Still, though, it's worth noting that, I feel like in a lot of ways we're getting, I don't know. I really like this era of video games that we're living in. Like, I feel like there's a lot of really interesting stuff and a lot of really exciting stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for the question, Oscar. Michael writes in and says, hello, Jeff and John. What would your dream Frankenstein game be? Basically, if a game had your favorite traits from your favorite games of all time. For me, I would take the weapons from Ratchet and Clank and the exploration from the Wind Waker, the storytelling of, say, Naughty Dog or the good Telltale games. Obviously, there's a feature creep fallacy, but screw it, it's fantasy. P.S. Please play more games like Gene Rain, or at least another episode. I don't think I've laughed that hard in my life. Your loyal fan, Michael.
Of what?
Matt and I played a game called Gene Rain that came out on the PlayStation. It had it had a trailer that it was like, I don't know. That looks like it could actually be like one of those diamonds in the rough. Oh my God, it was fucking abysmal. It was like, I don't know I don't. Sometimes I have to wonder how this shit gets on the PlayStation. Like, how does Sword Fortress of the Osmonium or like Life of Black Tiger, how do these games get on the PlayStation Network? Like, because most of the time, most of the things that are on the PlayStation Network, I mean, you'll have games that are like, it's not for me, right? And not every game is a 10 out of 10, but like, these games are fucking terrible. Like, the story didn't make any sense. The voice acting was obviously
another Black Tiger.
Non-native English speakers. It was a cover-based shooter, but it didn't work. And it was like a bunch of weird stock assets. It was kind of a Gears of War ripoff. It was also just like incomprehensible. Like, I was just playing it like, I can't even understand what's going on here. Like, because it starts and then it's like there's an old lady and then she's flashing back to like when she was young, but it's in the exact same room that she's in. And so you're like, wait, where did all these people come from? And like this kid, the cyber kid shows up and starts like torturing her. And I'm like, what? Just sat here for 40 minutes, just like, what the fuck is going on here? And I lamented about it because I feel like a lot of people aren't going to watch that video because they're just going to be like, well, I don't know what game that is. And it's like, Matt and I suffered for like 40 minutes for your sins. Frankenstein game, John, what do you think?
Oh.
I could add just like big stuff together, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take the combat system from The Witcher 3 and add the storytelling system from The Witcher 3 and then add the world of The Witcher 3.
And make The Witcher 3?
And make The Witcher 3 Jeff edition. No. That's hard. That's hard. There's so many systems flying through my head that it's kind of like, I don't know. Maybe take the Naughty Dog storytelling is a pretty good place to start, right? I feel like they're kind of at the top of their game for like interesting and engaging storylines. Maybe the scope of something like a JRPG, like a Persona or Yakuza or something like that. You know what? Actually, you know what, Michael? I'm going to answer your question, but I'm not going to answer your question. Or I'm kind of going to answer your question. I had an idea the other day when I was drunk and I was listening to Hamilton soundtrack again because I like to do that, to get drunk and listen to Hamilton soundtrack. And I was like...
Well, it's either that or 80s music.
Well, sure. What if there was a game based on Hamilton modeled after the Yakuza games? So it's like musical. It's got a lot of that stuff, and then it's because I was thinking about how like the characters in Hamilton, like the American figures in history in Hamilton are like so over the top because of the music they have here. And I was like, you know who else has over the top characters? The Yakuza games. So it's like, if Lafayette was like Goro Majima, just popping in and doing all this crazy shit, I don't know. It was a thought that I had. I even made an animated GIF that just is like some Hamilton lyrics and then Goro Majima busting open two doors. It really wouldn't make sense to anybody. Like, I was about to post it to Twitter and I was like, this isn't going to make sense to anybody. So I stowed it away. I don't know. You know what? It's Michael, I'm sorry to say that it's difficult to answer such a question because it's like, I don't know, Portal sense of humor, Kojima weirdness, Naughty Dog writing, CD Projekt Red game engine, and then anything, and then just put anything in there. Can I just change my answer back to I want Silent Hills again?
I was actually wondering if you were going to say, can I just have, take all of Silent Hills?
Yeah. I take Dark Souls.
So it's like I want
Bloodborne.
Sam Lake from Remedy writing it.
Okay.
And I want there to be a card game aspect of it, like Hand of Fate.
Okay.
And then but have to deal with superheroes in a way like the Batman Arkham games.
Mm-hmm.
And is all done in the Freedom Force style of cheesy Golden Age. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, we have one more question, and then we're gonna get out of here. Let's see. Niall writes in and says, "All hail Jeff and John. Been loving the Detroit Become Human playthrough. Probably my favorite current that you've produced, although Evil Within 2 and House Party were pretty damn good too.
For those wondering what he's talking about is on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch Jeff and Amanda play all the way through Detroit, continuing off where they left off on the dojos.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did you end up getting back to Detroit?
I have not. I did play a large chunk of it, and I have not brought myself to sit back down and play it.
Because you had a tragedy, right?
Well, it wasn't a tragedy, but it was just like it was a low point. Like I know I fucked up, and I fucked up bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to know what the repercussions are, and I don't. And I'm the type of player that with these kind of games, I don't want to go back and replay the level.
Right.
Because like I'm very much like with a David Cage game, Quantic Dream. I want to play it whatever I play through it that first time.
Right.
That's the way I'm playing it. Like I don't go back.
Yeah.
Like that's the movie I'm watching.
Right.
And I'm just like at this point where I'm just like, man, this one section I fucked up so bad.
Yeah.
It's but I'm gonna have to go back to it eventually. So I'm probably gonna do it before I go on my vacation because I do want to play it and I do want to finish playing it. I just haven't gotten back to it yet.
I'll say again and again and again. Best David Cage game I've ever played. Like
so far, it's really good. I like what I'm playing.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Any chance of a follow up with a couple of different decisions being made? I'm sure there is a Dream Daddy type scenario with Connor and Hank if you try hard enough. I don't think that's going to happen. Do you have? So this is just I feel like we're getting into these are a lot of very open ended questions this week. Do you have any game recommendations for me? My poor gaming PC has been lying dormant for probably the last 6 months, as nothing is inspiring me to play. Love Dragon Age and Mass Effect series of games, obviously not Andromeda. Tried playing The Witcher, but was not inspired to play more than a couple of hours. Any good Bioware style RPGs that I've missed out on? Also, have you played that newish Warhammer 40k Diablo game, Inquisition Martyr? Is it any good? And that's from Niall, a loyal patron. So thank you for being a patron, Niall. Let's see.
I can't think of anything, but then again, I don't play a whole lot of
Bioware style RPGs.
Yeah. I mean, I played Bioware RPGs, but
what? Better Call Saul is back on? I'm sorry. God
damn it, Jeff.
I'm sorry. I was looking at. I was going to Metacritic because sometimes I get I was looking for things that came out in the last 6 months. But and then I saw the Better Call Saul season 4 is starting. I fucking love.
What's that? Do you know if that Warhammer game was any good?
It got good reviews on the PC version. I've been waiting for it to come out on the console. It was actually supposed to come out in the middle of last month, but it got pushed back to, I believe, the week 1 or 2 of this month. So I don't know, but the reviews are generally pretty good for it. Let's see what we can think of. Oh, look, Hello Neighbor got a 38 on its Switch release. It really was kind of a disappointment. Unless you just want to like throw garbage at an old man.
I'm wondering if maybe we should have played it on a different platform. But even then, I don't even know if it would have been that much better.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see.
I did appreciate Alex's insight on that video.
Yeah.
Talking when I brought up the fact that we were playing it on a Switch and brought up some of the aspects of why it may have looked so janky.
Uh-huh. I don't. It was that in the comments.
Comments on the site. Yeah.
But okay, so okay, some interesting things here. Witcher. Oh, you know what? I got one. I got a very good one for you. In fact, you'll probably love. I know that we just got done doing it. If you didn't watch the videos, go back and watch them. But Divinity 2 Original Sin is like kind of a BioWare style RPG. It's more closer to like an old, like more like Baldur's Gate, or Neverwinter Nights than like Mass Effect. But it's incredibly charming. It's very well written. As I've said before, it is the highest rated game from 2017 on Metacritic for PC. It's got universally good ratings, and again, exceptional writing. Very interesting combat system. Kind of a lot of interesting make a decision and then live with your decision type of stuff. What kind of on the lines of a Mass Effect style game. I would definitely recommend that. at the very, very least. You might try also Dragon's Dogma, which isn't very much of a BioWare style game. It's kind of closer to like maybe a split between a BioWare game and like Dark Souls, but it's not hard like Dark Souls.
Isn't that the grandma throwing simulator?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Indeed.
As
indeed,
Jason coined it.
Yes, indeed. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there was... Oh, these are just all BioWare games. Have you ever played Knights of the Old Republic? You go back and play Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, I'm sorry. I was talking to Niall there for a second, even though he's not in this room.
No.
But
he's also asking for more recent games, I feel.
let me take a look through the YouTube channel and just see what we've been playing over the last 6 months. It's been an interesting... I'm trying to think of good... Divinity Original Sin 2 is actually coming out very soon on consoles. But if you're talking about a gaming PC, I mean, that's been out for a while. Let's see here. Things have been a little weird over the last few breaks. You know what? I know that it's probably going to sound like I'm just pimping out the things that I like, but you could kind of make a weird case for how the complexity of Hitman might work for some of that. I mean, it's like the big areas with a lot of like nooks and crannies and kind of ways to do stuff. It's not exactly a narrative RPG, but I think it's a murder RPG, right? You role play your own murder, how you want to murder that person, whether it's opening up the front door and shooting everybody in the face, or, you know, sneaking around, or like me, sneaking around and doing everything right until the very end, and then having to run out and shoot a bunch of people in the face. Let's see. You and I have played a few things recently. You know what? I think you could... it's a PS4 exclusive, so I don't think it would work, but I think you could probably make an argument for Detroit. Detroit's kind of like Mass Effect if it didn't have any combat, almost.
Or even God of War.
Oh, yeah, God of War might work.
But again, I think he's asking for PC.
For PC, yeah. Monster Prom? Have you played Monster Prom? It's kind of like a... It's a little bit. You might try out Captain Spirit. It's free. It's kind of just an adventure game. You're walking around doing stuff. I guess I'm trying to figure out what you're looking for as far as... I feel like it's got to have some amount of combat in it, right? Let's see here. Prey might be an interesting one for you to try out. You probably get that pretty cheaply at this point. I think that might be it.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to look through the stuff that... Oh, you know what? Vampire would be an interesting one to try out.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting world, interesting dialogue. You can go watch the videos that Amanda and I did on Vampire. It's interesting. It's got a combat system that's a little janky, but workable. It's kind of a Arkham-style system. But, yeah, I would definitely check out Vampire. That came out just recently as well. So let me just do one more quick, like rolling down one more page. Look at all the man. It has been it's been a little. I can't wait for this month to start getting interesting. There's like a lot of peaks and valleys in this list of videos that I'm looking at here. Destiny. Oh yeah, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire came out. That's one that also has the Pillars of Eternity series has been pretty good so far, or I've liked it, and I don't usually like Obsidian stuff, but so yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I don't think there's anything I feel like if you listen to the podcast and you're looking for me to come up with something that it's like, oh, I haven't been yammering on about that. You got a gaming PC? Guess what came out this week? Yakuza 0. You got fighting, you got dialogue, you got an interesting
definitely.
mission, you got RPG structures of like powering up your character, you got a bunch of different side missions to do.
And it's the beginning of the franchise.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's a prequel to the Yakuza games, but it's like you don't need to know anything going in.
Right. Yeah, it just came out, and not only that, but it is $20 on Steam.
Oh shit!
So, bada bing bang boom. There you go. Between Divinity and Pillars of Eternity and Yakuza and the stuff that we've listed off, I I feel like one of these will probably get you going. The one thing I will say about Yakuza 0 though, right, is that like it does take some time to get going. So Yakuza 0 is a slow burn, but it's kind of an old school RPG burn where like once you get invested in what happens to Kiryu Kazama,
once you get
and
to
Goro
understand
Mishima,
the characters, who the characters are, and what their motivations are,
Yeah.
and the story gets going, then you care about the characters.
oh shit, do you ever? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
All right, and that is the show. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address. Send in questions. We need questions. And with that, we will see you next week.